Hello, 6th grade. This is Mrs. Froman, and you're going to be taking notes today on your chemistry from your chemistry. Chapter 1, Section 1. And this section is about matter. And some of this is going to be review. Some of it should probably be new. So first we're going to talk about the 3 states of matter. There's 3 main states of matter can be found in, and that's solid, liquid, and gas. So you can see from the pictures, a solid holds its shape, keeps the same volume. A liquid changes its shape depending on what container it's in, but it's always the same amount. It's always the same volume of liquid. Where when you get to a gas changes its shape depending on the container it's in, and it can also change its volume depending on what container it's in. So it fills up whatever container you put it in. All right, and then we have characteristic properties. Characteristic properties are things that never change for that element. One of those is chemical activity, and that means its ability to undergo a chemical change. So it's really its ability to bond with other elements to make new chemicals. So if it's really active, it likes to bond with lots of different things and make lots of different chemicals. If it's not active, it likes to kind of stay by itself. Another characteristic property is the melting point, and that's the temperature at which it starts turning into a liquid. And then the boiling point is also a characteristic property, and that's the temperature at which it starts turning into a gas. And these are specific for certain elements found on the periodic table. And also things like water. And we compare everything to water. That's why when you look at this graph, there's nothing there at water, because when we're talking about Celsius, water melts at 0 degrees Celsius. But when you get up here to tungsten, that's like almost 3,500 degrees. So they all have different temperatures at which they melt and boil at. Changes in matter. Matter can go through what's called a physical change, and this means it alters its form so it looks different, but it's still the same thing. It doesn't change its identity. So like water to ice, water and ice look different, but it's still water. It's just in a different form. Whereas in a chemical change, you form a new substance, so it goes through a change and you don't have what you started out with. So like burning wood, when you burn wood in your fireplace, the wood's gone. You can't get that back. So the examples down here, a physical change would be like if you crush an aluminum can. It looks different, but it's still an aluminum can. Whereas when you fry an egg, this egg looks a lot different from the egg you started out with when it's raw. Then we have types of matter. There's mixtures, and a mixture is when you have 2 or more substances that are mixed together, but they're not chemically combined. So what that means is that you can get those things back. You can pick them out of that mixture. So when there's a special kind of mixture called a solution, which is a well-mixed mixture. So it might look like it's one thing, but you can still get the parts out. So like, for instance, salt water. It looks like it would really be hard to get the salt out of the water, right? But really all you have to do is boil the water, and the water turns into a gas, and then you're going to be left with salt in the bottom of your pan. Same for like lemonade. If you boil lemonade, you're going to end up with that powdered lemonade mix in the bottom. Then there's a pure substance, and that's one kind of matter. So these are like the elements. They can't be broken down any further. So if you look at the periodic table, anything listed on the periodic table is a pure substance, because those are all elements. So carbon would be one, potassium, hydrogen, oxygen, those are all pure substances. Then we have something called a compound, and these are 2 or more elements that are chemically combined. They have different properties than the elements that form them. So if you think about it, water is H2O. Okay, the H stands for hydrogen. Hydrogen is a gas that floats around in the air, and oxygen is a gas that floats around in the air. But when you combine them, it forms this liquid water that acts much differently than the hydrogen did by itself or than the oxygen did by itself. So compounds, you end up with a new substance. All right, and I believe, yep, that is it. So don't forget to do your quack, and we will see you in class. Bye.